Well, so we continue to follow developments out of Tel Aviv. Thousands of people have taken to the streets there. They are there in protest. Yeah, so they've been demanding that the government accepts the ceasefire proposal announced by the US President Joe Biden. Now, this deal includes a 6-week ceasefire, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, and the return of all the captives. In a press conference, relatives warned that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu might try to stop this agreement from going ahead. Now, they have called on Netanyahu to come out and publicly support it.
The extremists in the Netanyahu government are opposing this deal. They have allowed the minority extremists to attack President Biden. They want the war to go on for an indefinite period of time. These people would sacrifice even the captives. Gantz, Eisencourt, Gallant, this is your last chance to make sure that Netanyahu doesn't destroy this deal. I hear your voices. Tell the citizens that you support this deal. And that includes putting an end to this war.
Well, Israel has banned Al Jazeera from reporting from inside the country. So instead, we are in the Jordanian capital, Amman. Sara, Khairat reports from there.
This time, they don't just mention Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They're mentioning those that are in the war cabinet, as well as Gadi Eisenkot. He's one of the observers of the war cabinet, saying that you need to take this deal. They say it provides hope for them because there is still 125 captives that are still held in the Gaza Strip. And they know full well that the longer it's left, the more those are likely to be killed, those ones that are still there. They even mentioned that in their statement. But interestingly, we've just heard now a statement from Benny Gantz, who's actually fleshed it out a little bit more, certainly more than the statement we heard earlier from the Prime Minister's office. And in this statement, he's saying we're committed to advancing the hostage release proposal. And he's also called for an immediate war cabinet meeting to convene as soon as possible with the negotiating team that's been trying to bring back a deal. It's interesting also because the head of the negotiating team just a few days ago was actually criticising the Prime Minister, and there seemed to be a bit of a debate between both, where the Prime Minister said that there had been some lies that had been shared with the media, and that's actually not what had happened. The head of that negotiating team implying that the Prime Minister himself was trying to stop that deal from going through, and that's certainly a sentiment that a lot of the families believe, and that's also because he is under a lot of pressure from those far-right ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich. They're the ones that want to see Israel resettle in Gaza. They want to go back to the year 2005 when Israel was already occupying the Gaza Strip, and they're certainly the ones that have implied that Palestinians should leave voluntarily. So it's those inflammatory remarks that have almost landed, of course, as the number of deaths that we're seeing in Gaza landed Israel in the ICJ with an order against them, and certainly that's something that Joe Biden referred to as well, saying that this complete victory, this notion of a complete victory, is only going to isolate Israel further. The people that you're seeing now in that square live, they know that, and that's why they are calling on more people to join them, and they want the protest to be outside the homes of those ministers that are in the war cabinet, but also the other ministers that are in this coalition government.
And just a reminder again that the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside the country. We are instead based in Amman, though we continue to follow all of the developments, including these protests that are taking place right now in Tel Aviv as people try to put pressure on the government of Netanyahu. And of course, the Prime Minister himself, not just those who are on the extreme right of his cabinet, but also the Prime Minister himself to accept this proposal by the US President. Michael Levy's brother Or was taken captive on October 7th. Or's wife was killed that day. Speaking to Al Jazeera a bit earlier, Michael said that he is hoping for his brother to come back home.
Today feels a bit different. We as families feel a bit more hopeful, and we are crossing our fingers it will be real this time. As far as I know, it was an Israeli proposal, and I believe that they will go for it if Hamas will agree to it. Well, I know that how much they want it. I think that they understand as much as all of us that there's nothing more important than getting back the hostages. So I believe that they are doing what they can to bring them back. We choose to believe that what was presented is the real offer, and that is what is going to happen if Hamas won't play games and agree to it.
Well, it's not just the general public that you see here out in protest. Israeli opposition figures have also come out. They are urging Netanyahu to accept the ceasefire plan, one which US President Joe Biden initially described as an Israeli proposal. Laura Khan has this report now.